guys, I'm Aveline. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. So today we are building another house, and this one is still not a tiny house. This is built on a 30 by 20 in Willow Creek, and it's basically for either one or two parents and then a kid. At first I actually wanted it to be for a tiny human instead of a child, so that's why I placed down a high chair in the I was in the bathroom. That would be super weird. Why would there be a high chair in the bathroom? I mean, in the dining area, but then I figured that, I don't know, I felt like instead of having it be a tiny human, it was a kid that just turned into a kid. So they basically decided once the child, so they used to live in an apartment, and they basically decided once the child or the tiny human turned into a child, they would need a little bit more space, so they decided to move to a house instead. And they can stay here for a little bit. Maybe they want to expand the family, maybe they're just content with just having one kid. I don't really know, but they can definitely stay here for a while if they don't want to expand the family. So the kid could turn into a teen at some point and then move on to university later on as well. So yeah, that is basically, that's what we're doing today. But it's their first house, so just keep that in mind once we start decorating. And also, a house like this would definitely be very small, or not like extremely small, but would be on the smaller side in like in real life. Houses tend to be a little bit bigger in The Sims because of size proportions are just different. But in real life, I think this would be considered a small house. You can see it on the floor plan once we get, well, we've done that now. So you can see it on the floor plan now. There's not a lot of space for both the, what's it called, the living room area, the dining area. The kitchen is extremely small. They do have a garage, but I had to make the garage this size because otherwise technically there wouldn't be able to be a car in there, so it's a little bit on the bigger side, but the cars are also a little bit bigger. So I feel like English is not going super well today. It's just one of those days. Sometimes I just can't speak, other days it's like no issue whatsoever, but today is just, it's a little bit more difficult today for some reason. So if I mess up a lot, you know, just go with it. It happens. It's like, it happens to people who have English as their first language too. I don't. So it probably happens more often to me, but that's just how it is sometimes. So anyways, but yeah, they have a pretty small house. There is one thing though, they have two bathrooms because I wanted to make sure that the parents actually had an ensuite. So there are two bedrooms on the second floor and also two bathrooms, but one of them is just for the master bedroom and the other one is sort of open to everyone to use. So if they have guests over, I don't know where they would sleep because I don't know. Normally, if you have guests over and you don't have a lot of bedrooms, the guest tends to just sleep in the living room, but you can't really do that in The Sims unless you want them to just sleep by napping, but I feel like that's quite evil. So anyways, also you can't really have sleepovers in The Sims. Well, you can as an adult, but not as like if your kid wants to have like other, oh, that would be so cute. What's that called? A pajamas party? No, what's it called? A sleepover? Is it just called a sleepover? I feel like there's another word for it, but that would be so cute if we could actually do that. Imagine like you have a young kid in the family and they really want to have a movie night with their friends, so they invite them all over to watch movies in the living room or something. Wouldn't that be adorable? But unfortunately, we can't do that in The Sims, at least not without mods. So it is what it is, but usually I feel like, at least from experience, whenever we've had to visit people for Christmas or visit family for Christmas or something like that, we'd always end up sleeping in the living room, so, or like on mattresses in the other bedrooms basically. I don't even remember why I'm talking about this anymore, so I'm just gonna move on, like just forget that happened. I don't remember anymore, but yeah, it's a pretty small house if you think about it in a realistic sense. Like if you compare the size proportions to a real house, I would think that it's a small house, which is why I think it's perfect for this little family, because it's supposed to be like a cheap starter house for them, but that still has room for a proper kitchen, a proper dining area, and also a proper living room. You could turn the small bathroom, that's not actually a bathroom, it's just a toilet, like a powder room plus a laundry room, it's on the ground floor. You could turn that into an office if you want to, but I decided that an office would probably be a little bit too fancy for this house. So I wanted it to be a laundry room slash powder room. So actually, I think there was a shower in there. Or is there? I don't remember anymore. I literally just decorated this house. Like, I finished decorating it like 4 hours ago. I was supposed to have this done yesterday, but in my head, I was building a tiny house, and that meant I could have the whole video finished yesterday, but then it wasn't a tiny house, and suddenly it took a lot longer, so I had to just finish the rest of it today. Plus, I ended up talking about candy for an hour with one of my friends, because she's in the US. It's Lynn. I almost called her Lim. It's Lynn, Grumpy Lynn Sims. She's in the US, and she wants me to send her some Scandinavian candy. So we talked about that for like an hour, try to plan what to buy and stuff, and also how much it's gonna cost to send and everything. So that took like a little bit of time, but it's all fun. I love candy shopping, and it's all bought now, it's all purchased, so it's ready to be sent to the US. But that's why this video wasn't done until today. I wasn't done decorating it until today, but candy is important. So anyways, I'm gonna do a tiny house for tomorrow. Now that I've said it, I'm actually going to do it. It's not gonna be another 30 by 20 or a 40 by 30. I'm gonna do a tiny house for tomorrow. Even though I still have a 50 by 50 shell that I still have to decorate, I'm gonna do a tiny house for tomorrow, just so you know. So for those of you who have been missing tiny houses, because I know that I've not really built a lot of them lately, there'll be one tomorrow and then an apartment on Sunday, I think. So yeah, anyways, but this is pretty much what we're building today. I wanted to say something about the furniture and then I completely forgot. So I want you guys to keep in mind when we start with the decor, I want you guys to just keep an open mind, because it's not supposed to be all matchy-matchy. It's not supposed to be like super like style-wise fit together and stuff like that. Some of it is supposed to look very cheap. Some of it is supposed to look like maybe they've splurged a little bit because they want to keep the furniture for longer. And some of it is supposed to look a little bit newer, and some of it a little bit older. So it's kind of like not a lot matches in this house, but that's on purpose because they're building a home. So they have a lot of cheap furniture that's older that maybe they've gotten through secondhand shopping, thrift shopping, or maybe they were given it by their parents or grandparents or something. So for example, the two couches that I placed here in the dining area, one of them is actually going to end up being a chair instead, just because I felt like it fit the layout a little bit better, but those look newer. They look a little bit pricier. They're from Nifty Knitting, by the way, if you're curious. They're super cute. I love them. They kind of remind me of the tiny living ones, but I don't mind too much because they come in different color stories, so it's all good. I love the shape of the couch. I am going to use it a lot, but it does look newer compared to, for example, both the dining table, but also the desk that's right behind the couch, for example. Also just like not the coffee table, but the side table also looks older. So we kind of have a fun mix going on here because it's not necessarily their style to kind of like old furniture, older looking traditional furniture is not necessarily their style. I think this family is more into newer looking furniture, but you know, you have to swap out piece by piece. If you don't have a lot of money, you just have to take it slow with like building your house and stuff. I've been doing the same because I had no furniture when I moved here. So, you know, I had to build everything from scratch and it's taken a long time. And because I'm on my own, I just decided instead of buying furniture that I would only have temporarily, I just decided to like take it slow and then buy like month per month, just add something new to my interior. But that's possible because I'm just me. I don't have a pet. I don't have a kid. There's anyone else. There's no one else living in this apartment other than me, so I could just do what I wanted. But this family has a kid. They also have a cat, so they kind of need to have like, I don't know, maybe they also need room for the grandparents to come over and visit them or something since they have a kid. So they just kind of had to get what they could while they well, like before they moved into either the apartment they lived in before they moved into this house or before they moved into this house. So that's why there's like a fun little mix of different styles in this house. Just so you know, there's a reason why it's a mess. Style-wise, it's a mess. I feel like whenever I do these sorts of interiors, whether it's like opposite best friends or opposites attract or something like that, where you have two different styles but in one house, I feel like I always have to be very careful. Like I really have to thoroughly explain why it looks like it does, because I know that without an explanation it could be kind of like, what is she doing, like what is this is not a very thought through or anything like that. It's just kind of like a mess. But when there's a background story to it and I tell you guys the thought process behind it, maybe you understand it a little bit better and realize that it's looking like a mess of different styles for a reason. And also I decided to put some movie posters here and there. So they have one both in the living room, they have one here in the little dining area corner, and there's also another one in the bedroom, but that's because one of the parents is really into movies. I don't know which one, but one of them is, so I just decided to hang up some of these posters here and there. I don't use them a lot for like common areas, so living rooms or kitchens, dining rooms, even offices. I don't use them a lot for offices either, unless, I don't know, one of the Sims living in the house is a movie director or an actor / actress or whatever. I don't really use the posters much unless I'm doing a room for a teen. Then I feel like it's appropriate for some reason, but I actually like movie posters. I'm very into like photography and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I just love like you can get a feeling out of it. I don't know how to explain it, but anyways. So yeah, I just decided to hang some of them here and there. So that's what that's about. Basically, one of the parents really loves movies. Maybe they're dreaming of being a movie director at some point. Who knows? Maybe they're reading to become a movie director or something like that. Actually, I don't really know how that works with Discover University. I've still not played it, to be honest, because I don't really play the game. I mostly just build. So I'm not really sure how those two packs, like how they work together, how they're connected. But it would be kind of cool if one of the parents was like secretly dreaming of becoming a movie director or something like that. I don't really know. Let me know what you think. So it's not very often that I use carpet, actually. I kind of hate carpet. I'm not gonna lie. Carpet is not a thing that I personally enjoy. So we've never really... Oh yeah, in my first house, my childhood home, we did have carpet on the second floor of the house, and I feel like it's more common to have it on the second floor in houses compared to like living room, for example, or just like the first floor where you have the kitchen, the dining room, and the living room. I know that it depends on which country you live in, because some countries are way more into like wooden floors. For example, here in Scandinavia, wooden floors are a big thing throughout the whole house. But then you have like, I know that in Britain, carpet is a lot more common, especially in houses. I don't really know if that counts for apartments, but I know that in houses it's very, very common. And then, you know, in the US, it's sort of the same. And then of course you have like down south where they use tile a lot more, tile and wooden floors, I think. In my aunt's old apartment in Italy, I think they had wooden floors, except from in the kitchen, I'm pretty sure. And in her newer apartment, I'm pretty sure the whole apartment is actually wooden floor. But I do know that tiles are very common in certain places, I think, especially in South America. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think so. So yeah, my point just was, it's not often that I use carpet because I don't really like it and I'm not really used to it, considering we don't use it a lot here in Scandinavia. But I know that for certain houses, it's more common to have in the bedrooms or in the bedrooms. So on the second floor of houses where you usually have the bedrooms, because I don't know, for some reason it makes sense. I feel like it's because you walk around in the common rooms during the day, and if you sleep below the common rooms, you can hear people like walking around all the time. I know this from actually, like, my old bedroom was in the basement of my childhood home. At first it was on the second floor, but then I moved down to the basement, which was a half basement, so I still had windows. It wasn't like a chamber of sorts or a prison cell or something like that. There were still windows, so I could still like get fresh air in, and a lot of spiders as well, but still. So I feel like it might have something to do with that, because I could hear my dad walking around upstairs while I was in my bedroom, so I don't know, I feel like it might have something to do with that, but also the fact that you actually usually enter the house like through the ground floor or the first floor, whatever you want to call that. And that just, it makes more sense if you enter the house on the same floor where the living room, kitchen, and dining room is. So I've actually met one exception once. Speaking of my aunt, one of her old apartments, I don't know if they still live in it, but their apartment, you entered on the second floor actually. So they had the living room, the kitchen, and the dining room, and also the terraces on that floor. And then you went downstairs to the bedrooms that were like on the floor below. I don't know what you call that, but it was an apartment. So it was a 2-story apartment. It wasn't a big fancy thing, by the way. I just want to point that out. I don't have a rich family, but they definitely, like, it was a little bit compared to what I'm used to, like because at that point I still built a lot in The Sims, and I was aware that usually bedrooms are on the second floor, so it kind of felt weird for a second that they were on the floor below, but I don't know. I don't know why I'm still talking about this. My point is, there is often, in some houses, carpet on the second floor, especially in like older houses. Older houses here too actually have carpet on the second floor as well, but newer houses don't. If you have a mid-century modern house, you most likely do not. Well, you most likely don't even have a second floor. But if you do, if you happen to have a second floor, you most likely just have wooden floor on the second floor as well. So I've been talking about flooring for like 5 minutes now. What is life? Or 7 minutes, not even 5. 6 minutes or something? I don't know. I just want to, like, last thought, I like wooden floors personally a lot better than carpet. Also because I like it because it looks more stylish, but it's also a lot cleaner or a lot easier to clean. So, but yeah, moving on to the backyard, because I apparently ended up talking about flooring for most of the interior. You're welcome for that. Now you guys know my opinion on flooring. That's great, very useful. So for the backyard, I didn't actually, because I was so set on them having a pool, but then I was like, wouldn't that make the house a lot more expensive, like both in bills, but also if you have to have a pool built, I know that it can be quite expensive, at least it is here in Denmark. So I just kind of figured maybe it wouldn't really fit with the rest of the vibe of the house, because suddenly they have this expensive pool outside, like what's that doing there? So instead, I decided to just fill it up with a lot more plants. I felt like we didn't have enough plants in the backyard anyways. And then they have this very little area for the grill and a small dining area as well. There's a bench. There's also a sand pit for the kid, where I end up putting one of those jungle bars. It's actually the cuter one. It's not the basic one. It's the one from... Is it from Romantic Garden Stuff Pack or something? Does that come with a jungle bar? I don't really know. But it looks cuter because it has these flowers on it, as you can see. And then I also put, as always, I've begun putting a toy box in the sandpit areas, because that means I can actually sit in the sandpit and play with toys. I feel like the sand should work so that the kid could also make sand castles, but I could be wrong about that. Don't fully remember how that works at this point. But at least they have like the toy box. There's also a teddy there. So they have a few things to do. And of course, I had to add a swing as well, because it's a family home. So, and there's a kid living in this house. So they just needed a swing outside as well. But other than that, we're basically just doing a little bit more landscaping, doing some terrain paint. I'm also putting a lounge area on the back porch, but I think that is about it. So if you guys like this house, you can download it off the gallery. My ID is AvelineYT, and you can also find it under the hashtag Aveline or AvelineYT. I'm still posting Roblox, by the way, so if you're curious about that, if you're interested in Roblox, I'll leave a link to that channel at the top of the comment section in a pinned comment. I'm really enjoying recording those videos actually, even though it's definitely more work, but it's a lot of fun. I'm fully enjoying it. So, and yeah, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you did, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye. Won't stop for traffic lights, and I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes, even if
falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground.